Kill him, he talks to me like that again. Dead him while he's sleeping. Oh, poison is meat. See how he likes that.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Direwolf here, and today I'm coming at you with something very different than what I normally do. Pretty obviously, right? Because you don't actually see Skyrim on this channel much, but there's a reason for it. Now, I know you read the title, and I'm gonna get into that, but I do want to give some quick context here. This is actually going to be the load order, or the mods I'm using for an upcoming video. I'm not going to say exactly what the video is, but trust me, it's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know you guys are going to like it. It's an idea that I've had for a couple years now, and it's for Skyrim Together, basically. Skyrim Together idea. Skyrim Together is now playable enough, in my opinion, to try something like this. But yeah, no, I'm going to mainly be showing off the combat changing mods here, combat enhancing mods, and we're going to get right into that. It's simple. I like it. This is my preferred way of playing Skyrim, and I'll have all the mods linked down in the description below for those who are interested. I'm going to be going over them just as the talking points come up during the recording, where I'm just kind of showing off what's going on here. Alright, but let's get into it. Alright, so I know we just went over this in the background, but there's a couple things I want to touch on real quickly here. So notice how I just sidestep right there? This whole little sequence here is courtesy of 3 different mods playing out together. So one, it's a big one, a lot of people have heard of it, TK Dodge. Simply, it adds a dodging mechanic. If you never heard of it, like I said, all the mods are going to be in the description, all the ones that I'm talking about anyways. Secondly, mortal enemies. Basically, it greatly limits the movement of you and an NPC when performing an attack. This kind of stops the whole ice skating thing, because in the base game, you can swing and you can throw an attack and make a full 360 mid-attack, and which makes 0 sense, and so if you have TK dodge in, but nothing that gives attack commitment, then you try to dodge and the NPC is just going to follow you, and it makes it way harder to dodge, way more annoying, and so yeah, definitely you want to have both of those together running at the same time. The third mod is a newer one, at least of this recording, called Precision. It does just that. So it adds the swooshy looking graphics with the sword swing there. So if you like that, then that's a bonus. Personally, I'm indifferent. I honestly would prefer not to have it, but it doesn't bother me too much. I think it just doesn't look too good with my setup. Anyways, that's not important. But the main thing it does, in the base game, if you or an NPC attacks, it creates a damage cone, like a radius out in front of you, where everything inside that radius takes damage. What this does, where the name comes in, is precision, where if the weapon doesn't hit something, then the something doesn't take damage. Like, the damage radius is limited strictly to the weapon, and wherever the weapon is at a given time, which I really like, and I'm glad there's a good mod for that right now. Okay, now moving on. You see, I'm about to fight the giant frostbite spider, and I want to include this, one, because it looks menacing as hell in this recording, and two, it's a great example, or I guess the whole thing is a pretty good example of Smilodon combat. To break it down, what I am mainly using this for is that it makes it so enemies will fight you better, that they have a bit of a better AI for fighting, but it also makes the damage a bit more realistic. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, but it's a lot better, and I like all the changes that it makes there. So what that means is, if a giant spider lunges at you, this is what happens. Oh shit, actually, you know, I survived that. That's an example of Power Attacks Plus as well. That's another mod in there, Power Attacks Plus. If you get hit by an attack that is strong enough, even if you're blocking, it will knock you off your feet. And then I also have faster stand-up animation to compensate for that. Okay, but anyways, as you can see, that did a lot of damage and I died. That's because the spider is considered a large enemy, and I have damage reduction against large targets turned on. So it still has heightened damage, but I don't do a crazy amount of damage to it because it's considered a large target. So anything like a dragon is not gonna get like 5-shot by a guy with a decent one-handed stat and a steel sword, you know. But yeah, just as an example, back to that bandit outlaw, you may think, okay, well that's kind of OP. You killed that guy really fast. That's a bandit outlaw. So they're supposed to be kind of strong. Well, if he hit me with that mace power attack, I probably would have died right there. You know, I mean, what would you expect to happen when someone gets a running start and smacks you in the face with a mace? I mean, it just makes sense to me, right? But yeah, I avoided the attack and got one in on him. Alright, now moving on, I'm just going to show you this little altercation here with these Draugr, right? Because it's just a couple Draugr, but it's made way more interesting with these simple additions and enhancements to the vanilla combat. Okay, really quickly want to point out the reason why that last Draugr was staggered by a regular old hit. Another thing about Smilodon combat is that if an attack does over 30% damage, it staggers you or the opponent. And that is a setting that I have ticked on. There's going to be a lot more things that Smilodon adds that I will go over when we get to them in the recording. Okay, like I said, going to be hopping back and forth between mods just as we come across features in the recording. So you see the sword kind of bounce off of that Draugr's shield. That is another thing changed by the precision mod. So it also, and it's just a little recoil animation, so my sword recoiled off of its shield. The same would happen if I were to like smack my sword into a wall, it would recoil. And while I'm at it, precision also adds the extra little details of hit stop and screen shake animations, which basically just means when you hit something, there's a slight pause and a slight screen shake to help kind of eliminate the feeling of your weapon just gliding through the air without making any contact on anything. So it helps sell contact. And the final piece to help sell contact are flinching animations. This doesn't affect the gameplay at all, it's purely visual. But say, for example, if you hit something in the head, its head's going to turn to the side before going back to normal. If you hit something in the shoulder, its shoulder's going to budge. Stuff like that. So I think that would cover it for precision. Okay, so I really should have mentioned this sooner. I feel like it's very important. I am using another mod called First Person Combat Animations Overhaul 2.0. Size matters. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I just got used to using the mod and I forgot to mention it. Good thing I've already explained. This is a pretty unorthodox quote-unquote review. I'm not sure I want to call it that per se. Showcase, I suppose. But yeah, figured that should be mentioned. These are obviously not vanilla animations, and this is the mod I'm using. Okay, the final thing I'm going to mention, Smilodon Combat adds something called Attacks of Opportunity, and what that means in the Skyrim is the more vulnerable you can catch an opponent, the more damage you're going to do. So if they're stuck in a stand-up animation, if they've been staggered, stuff like that, that's when you can really do big damage. And I figured you get a couple really good examples here. Oh yeah, I also have Maximum Carnage installed.